Joins us now. Puneet, welcome to the programme. Good to see you. Thanks for coming in. Tell us about the business, because you've been involved in a number of different businesses, haven't you, before you took over here. Give me a sense of how someone starts in an industry like this, because many people who are doing it have been doing this for life, haven't they? It's a real vocation. Actually,
that even holds true for me. I've spent 38 years in this industry. I've been in different companies. So I started in India, transitioned to Europe, worked for a global group and a German group, and then back to the roots. So here I am, and just a little correction, our company was not formed 3 decades ago, but almost 120 years ago.
Oh, apologies. Got our numbers wrong there, didn't we?
No, it's okay. And the first hotel opened 115 years ago.
I was going to say, because you and I were discussing that before we came on air, and the responsibility that that brings, because as we've mentioned, some of the most iconic and famous hotels within India are under your care, and it's part of the Indian story, the Indian heritage. Do you feel the weight of responsibility?
Absolutely. I think it's both the weight, but it's also very exciting. It's once in a lifetime opportunity. And when it comes to looking after, being the custodian, as we call it, of the Indian hospitality, looking after our palaces, looking after our iconic assets like the Taj Mahal Palace Tower in Mumbai, but also some of the iconic assets around the world, including in London, the Buckingham Gate in St. James' Court, or the Pier in New York. I think it's a very fascinating brand that we have, and the Taj brand, it has the highest emotional connect. And the other brands are emerging, and I think as they are much younger, they are like less than a decade old, and another one is 2 decades old, I think they will also evolve into being very special in their own market positioning.
The reason that branding in the hotel business is so important is because people know what they're going to get, don't they? They know that they like a certain brand, and whether you're in New York or Mumbai or Sydney, you know you're going to get the same sort of product. But then at the same time, it has to be different, because you run a hotel, I would imagine, very differently maybe in Mumbai than you do, say, Sydney. I mean, how do you make sure that you offer the same thing but differently and stay true to where you are?
That's interesting, but not for luxury.
Right.
So I think our backbone of our brandscape is the Taj brand, and that cannot be the same. In India, it has to be Indian hospitality. But the way of service and culture outside of India could also be in tune with what Taj would do within the Indian subcontinent.
So what would you do in London, for example, in your London hotel that you wouldn't do in Mumbai or vice versa? How do you differentiate?
Everything possible. It starts with the staff, with your uniforms. You don't have people running around in, ladies in saris or the doormen, etc., wearing, those kind of traditional wear, which is very common in places like Rajasthan or south of India, because it just doesn't fit in. So I think that's an interesting part of how you preserve the core and be a global brand, but still, you have to inculcate in yourself the local values and translate it into that local market space. And I think we've done quite well on that.
But people's expectations are great, aren't they? And it's matching that expectation, because you've got this incredible heritage, some of those palaces, 100-year-old plus, and yet you have to keep them relevant, updated, preserved, and yet with the latest technology, I assume, and all the bells and whistles that the new middle classes are demanding.
Yes, it is a challenge, because the technology evolution is faster than anything else has been evolving, and it's not the easiest thing for heritage properties to embrace the changes in technology for a variety of reasons, including new fire protection laws or just getting the cable into 300, 400, 500-year-old building. But what's easy? So I think it's the challenge which makes the job interesting, is the challenges like that which make our iconic assets interesting. And you cannot be interesting and everything is very easy and anybody else can do it.
Fascinating.
It sounds stressful to me.
Good luck.
I'm sure you love the job, though, don't you?
I do, and I would, just encourage everyone to come and visit some of our palaces and some of our iconic assets and enjoy the Indian hospitality.
Puneet, it's been great to have you on the programme. Thanks for being with us.
Thanks for coming in. Good to see you.